A very warm welcome along, everybody, to the Big Five Racing Podcast, taking you through the very best in British horse racing for the next 60 minutes or so. Thank you for joining us again. My name is Harrison Ferris. I do apologise for sounding absolutely awful. Burning the candle at both ends, I believe, is the phrase. We continue our wind down and this week finale to the 2025-26 jump season with the traditional ceremonials from Sandown Park. We've also got great action on the flat this weekend from there with an exciting Derby trial plus much more to take you through. Back alongside me this week as ever, it's wonderful to have Matty in with me. Great little weekend of sport come and went, and it was in a bit of a flash. It was the first Saturday afternoon I can recall in a long time where I kind of just sat down and watched the race and I enjoyed the various action that's going on at the minute. Bob over finding winners, unfortunately, but nevertheless, the jump season is now starting to style out quite nicely, and there's a lot to look forward to over the next few days. Particularly if you're a fan of Dan Skelton, Punchestown comes next week as well. So there's a lot of good jump stuff to see off the season.
Yeah, no, I caught quite a bit of air on Saturday, and I think I had a non-runner in the national and second in the Scottish Champion Hurdle with the Philip Hobbs horse. So it wasn't too bad, but yeah, it was a tricky meeting to find winners, as it is at this time of the season. You know, you've got horses that have had 5, 6, 7 runs through the season that just don't quite hold their form, and then you've got the summer horses that are coming through on the better ground and picking up early prize money. So it's a tricky time, and having watched a bit of the flat as well, it's proven even hard to pick winners on there as well. I've seen quite a few big price winners, so probably a time for a bit of a quieter spell as a punter, but we'll keep going, and we'll try and find some winners from Sandown this weekend.
Yeah, I enjoyed air for about 6 minutes at the weekend when was it Steel Ally was just absolutely bowling along from the front in the Tate Dory, sorry, in the in the national. I thought at one stage he was the second coming of Tiger Roll, turned into the bend at 2 out. Just I've never seen a horse empty out as badly as that, unfortunately. But a good little spin otherwise, but a couple of nice places otherwise. Cotty's with us as well this week. He's got a birthday this week, turning I think 18, so he's excited to get his first gambling account. How's your week been, Cotty? Not seen too much of you. I suppose the betting's not been overly easy at the minute, particularly with horse racing, like Matty said there, with the different prices and whatnot. But we're going into an interesting spell now where there is going to be a lot of short price horses on the flat coming up to the trials period for the Guineas and the Derby. We've got the end of the jump season as well. What's the best kind of approach for you now over these next few weeks?
Yeah, I think there's been a couple of weeks into the flat now, so you can see what trainers are kind of ahead of the game, and the horses are either running well or looking like they need the run. I think John and Fady Gosden are off to a very good start with both their 2, 3-year-olds, and the handicappers, I think they're striking at 35% or something. So they're ones to keep an eye on. Archie Watson seems to have a good bunch of 2-year-olds. I think he's 2 winners from 3 runners. So yeah, it's just keeping up with it all really, and just making sure that you have a look at the results every day, and I think that's a big out when certain trainers are in good form, and jockeys and so on and so forth. But yeah, it was quite a good weekend really on the football, and then a good day yesterday, Monday on the horses. Yeah, so no complaints. I don't think any of the big fives won, but the Nat won again, and Gitmaker came second at 20-1 in the national, so it wasn't too bad at all.
Yeah, mark that as a 15th winner for your nap of the weeks from 26 attempts. That is a fantastic strike rate throughout the season. So it's a bit of Sandown special for you this week. All of our races coming from their cards across the 2 days. Opening up with the flat stuff in a moment. We'll take you through some good group contests. Nice classic trial to look into, like I mentioned. Before we then move on to the Champions Day with 2 more graded races, including the big handicap there to flame out the rest of this jump season. You're going to need tips though. Shall we just get into it? I think so. Kicking off with the Friday part of Sandown's 2-day little hybrid card. It's always a kind of a nice watch this. All of these races, of course, live across the weekend on ITV as well. Flat action first, then the Friday 3 o'clock from Sandown's the BET365 Mile. That's a Group 2 Class 1 event for 4-year-olds and above over the Dead Mile at Sandown. He was a very, very interesting 3-year-old. He tops the market here on his return for Juddmonte, and as Cotty mentioned, they're the on fire John and Thady Gosling team. That's Field of Gold, 5-4 to open the top of the market. Zeus Olympicos has just been a winning machine for Carl Bark in the last few years. Ryan Moore takes the ride there at 9-4, 6-1 about Opera Ballo, and big prices about a couple of other Group 2-3 winners of years gone by. Field of Gold, top of the market then, Cotty. This was a horse that came out of winning the Craven last year, and one that was very much believed to be Juddmonte's next Frankel in a sense. He was such a hyped up Harkin horse. John Gosden was huge on it the entire season. He had good spells throughout the season, but it was a bit of a wave of consistency, but be it in a division where we were having winners like Kirat, and it was a strange season last year. Trains on as a 4-year-old here, goes to Sandown Park, where he's won before, drops straight to the Dead Mile here. Is 5-4 a good bet for you to kickstart the weekend?
I wouldn't be so sure that it's a good bet at 5-4. His last seen at Champions Day at Ascot. Was fifth that day. Was the winner of the race. Actually, he's in this field. The Charlie Hills horse, Ciro's Gift, that's in the market at 20-1. So a horse that's won last time out at 20-1, and the horse in fifth is a 5-4 favourite. So but Colin Keane, he's in good form for Juddmonte. Had a nice winner in France the other day, and as I previously mentioned, John Gosden's in good form, but I just think 5-4 could be just on the skinny side. The one I like is Zeus Olympus here for Carl Burke. Obviously, with the good weather we've had at the minute, it looks the going is good at the minute, but there's no rain around, so you probably think that will be good to firm come 3 o'clock on Friday. The horse has form on good to firm, unbeaten. Clifford Lee is suspended, who would normally ride the horse, but no finer man than Ryan Moore to come into the to saddle and take the ride. So just at the prices, I think Zeus Olympus at 9-4 would just edge it, and Carl Burke's in good form. I think he's had 3 winners today, so his yard's ticking along nicely.
Yeah, he always seems to start his seasons quite strongly. Carl Bark sends this one down to Sandown. Zeus Olympios there at 9-4. Any sort of opinion for you here? We're going to see a lot of these horses take each other on throughout the season. We'll see them likely at Epsom for the coronation. At Royal Ascot they'll meet as well. Then on to Goodwood. Possibly a case that one or two of these horses is going to need the run first time out, but quality could well prevail too at the top.
Yeah, I do think it concerns the top two. I mean, it wouldn't be a betting race at all for me. But if I was forced to side with one, it would be the favourite, Field of Gold. I think he's clear of these on ratings, well clear on RPRs. He's actually getting weight from Zeus Olympius and Opera Ballo. So you'd imagine providing he runs to form, he'll go and win here. Like you say, John and Thady Gosden have had a great start to the season. That's also a big tick. Sometimes their horses can just take a little bit of take their first run well, and they improve for it. But I'd imagine he'll be as ready as he can be, Field of Gold. And I think if he is that, he will take the win here. But for me, it wouldn't be much of a betting race.
Field of Gold for you. I'm going to agree as well. I think if you look at the overall of last season, he probably was eventually the best miler for the 3-year-old campaignees. Like we mentioned there at the top, he was very impressive whenever he won the Craven by 3.5 to Wimbledon Hawkeye. Very decent horse in his own right. Was second then in the 2000 Guineas. It was very much talked about at the time, the ride Colin Keane gave that, and Kieran Schumacher, look, just scratch that. Whether the horse was going to win or not, it doesn't really matter. What he did do then was go on to win the Irish Guineas, turned up at Royal Ascot and won there. Was involved in that freak race that Kerat won that, I suppose everyone's just going to scratch off. And then finished 5th to 16 last time out at the Champions Day as well. So I think the form lines probably just side with him here personally. Zeus Olympios, like Cott mentioned there, I do think is a very good contender. Haven't seen too much, even though he is 4-4, 3 wins last season on the grass, and obviously opportunity to improve. He beat Opera Ballo last time time out. Opera Ballo, a horse I met very much like him, was a huge winner, of course, last time out in Maidan in a Group 1 there. But I think he's probably going to need, if he does turn up here, he's probably going to need the first run back on the turf in the UK, and then you can start getting on him. And then it's big prices about the rest. I agree. I think it'll involve the top 2, but ultimately it should come down to Field of Gold's class being too much on the day. On to the other row. Someone's getting keen. Other race from the Friday is the 335. That's the BET365 Classic Trial. That's a Group 3 Class 1 event for 3-year-olds over 1 mile and 2 furlongs. Here's a surprise. Aidan O'Brien's got the favourite, this time with Action, returning as a 3-year-old for the first time in 181 days. The 5-2 favourite. A little bit of money coming for that in the last few hours. Rahib is in there for Shadwell, stood at 3-1. 7-2 Wise Prince for the Gostons. And then it's huge prices about any of the others that might come here. Action's obviously the very easy place to start with this one, Cotty. The one thing we know with Aidan O'Brien is when it comes to trials for the Guineas and the Derby and the St. Ledger, he absolutely thrives in them, particularly at Chester. It's been a while since he's won this edition of the event, but was second to Hawk Mountain, who we seen last week in the Craven, a little bit disappointing, so the form line might not be correct. Is this likely going to be where Aidan starts to really show off his continued progressive 2-year-olds from last season, or is this way too short to get stuck into?
Yeah, no, again, it wouldn't be for me. I mentioned last week about just waiting for Aidan O'Brien's really to run and really get a gauge of, you know, how fit they are. He didn't have a great Newmarket, did he, in the Craven meeting?
Mm-hmm.
A couple of horses around, you know, second, third favourites didn't really run their race. But yeah, I mean, if that was to go in at 5-2, then I'd happily just let it go and win, kind of thing.
Sure.
The third horse, Wise Prince, I watched an interview of Rab Avlin earlier. I don't think that's going to run. So Rahib for Ross Orion and Owen Burrows. He's obviously I think he's a full brother to Bahid, the really good horse. Not so long ago, was very impressive on his debut at Ascot, over 7 furlongs on soft ground, but looking through his pedigree, the forecast of good ground shouldn't really be an issue. Owen Burrows is he's a very good trainer. Placing his horses, he doesn't have many, but the ones he seems to have are a high class. So 3-1. I'd rather play that, but it wouldn't be it'd be a lucky 15 job more than a nice single.
Yeah, I obviously we've seen Owen Burrows over the last couple of years starting to get some big connections, particularly here with Shadwell. And I'm going to just jump in and agree with you, because obviously this is a horse that you're backing the pedigree of, but like you said, they're half-brothers of the brilliant Baid. He's a See the Stars out of Agrahid. We only seen him once as a 2-year-old. That was over 7 at Ascot, like you mentioned there, and he won with a length and change in hand. He's been put away for 231 days. Obviously, this would have been well targeted. They thought, we'll leave him as a 2-year-old. We'll come back next season, attack the trials, and try get this horse very much likely to the Derby. I mean, if we're talking about Baid See the Stars, he should be able to get 12 furlongs in time. Has to go 10 here on a very sharp Sandown. I think that won't be an issue. Ross Orion's going to take the ride there. When it comes to Aidan O'Brien horses, I'm very much in agreement with Cotty. I want to see 1 or 2 go in before I realise that things are connecting at Coolmore. So I'm just happy to leave that at the top of the market. And that was pretty much it for me. I just wanted to give a quick mention to a credit as well there for the Gosens. Another one for Judmon. Was 2 from 3 last season. One of those wins was at Haydock. He absolutely bolted up. He was 10s on probably particularly softer ground than what we're going to see at the weekend. But I thought 10-1 was a big price. He's got plenty of chance to improve on his scope. Already rated up to 99, so he might have a chance at 10s, but it's Rahib for me. Are we going to get a hat-trick up here, Matty? Who'd you like in the Classic Trial?
I didn't know that Wise Prince isn't looking like running. I mean, there's been good support for him and already at bigger prices. He was actually the one I was keen on, to be honest, just based on the fact that trainers combinations got off to a great start. Very unexposed. Obviously, won his only start. The form's working out okay. A few winners in behind, nothing that's screaming out. But I'm in agreement with you two with regards to Aidan O'Brien's. You just want to see them turn that corner, which they inevitably will. And it could be that it is that corner comes at Sandown on Friday, but you just take them on for the meantime. So based, if Wise Prince isn't going to run, which it sounds that's the case, then I'd probably just play Spice at a bigger price for Alan King and Tom Marquand. He's been supported a bit early, 25s into 12s. you'd imagine he's an intended runner with Tom Marquand jocked up. First time out, and then went on to win a Yarmouth maiden. I always think Yarmouth is a decent track for maiden winners. You know, John Gosden runs a lot of his good ones there, as does like William Haggis, etc. So that form looks decent enough. And then he was fourth in at Newmarket in a grade 2, I think it was. You know, he's going to have to improve on that, but he's only had 3 career starts. And, you know, like we say, while we're trying to take the ones at the top of the market on, he might just be one that could fire in at a decent price.
Yeah, the 2 down hot there, Spice Allen King horse for you at a bigger price. I think he's probably more of a miler than he is a mile 2 at this stage in his juncture, anyways. But if he's able to get close here over 10, we might see him in the Derby. But Spice at a nice price for yourself there. Lovely stuff. Right, we will move on to the jump stuff then from the Saturday. This, of course, is the finale of racing for the National Hunt season in the United Kingdom. We've got Punchestown to take you through next week as well. Apologies, but we've got some fantastic racing here. Very British dominated this year, of course. Not too many Willie Mullins horses. He's not going to come over if he doesn't need to. But nevertheless, we will kick on with the first of our races on the Saturday. That's the 220 BET365 Oaksey Chase. It's a Grade 2 Class 1 event. 2 miles, 6.5 furlongs. Big staying contest for the chasers. Blow your wad, top of the market for the Moors at 7-2-4-1. Last time out a couple of weeks ago, looking to back it up here as an 8-year-old. Plenty of 8-year-olds in this as well. Matterhorn's in there for Paul Nicholls. Dan Skelton, who's going to be crowned champion on Saturday, has Doyen Quest in here 4-1. And Etalon also runs there as well. Tristan Durrell takes the ride at 6-1. I'll keep it with you then, Matty, because there's a few Skelton horses in here. I don't know if either of these are going to run. Presumably that, obviously the way that Dan is now at this stage, it's a case of just let everyone go and have their big day out before they go into the fields for the summer. So he's double popping here, and when Dan Skelton double pops, you want to get on, surely.
Yeah, I mean, these are 3 horses that actually all quite prefer a bit of better ground, so it wouldn't surprise me to see these, you know, keep going through the summer. Obviously Risking the Ground picked up the feature at Haydock the other day. No one currently jocked up on him. He'd actually be of interest for me if Harry was jocked up, but it doesn't look like he's going to be a runner here. So I'm actually going to go with Matterhorn, slightly reluctantly. I mean, this isn't a race that's, you know, really going to get the blood pumping, to be honest. This wouldn't look out of place being a handicap around sort of Worcester or something, which is kind of a theme of this meeting with there nothing left to play for with regards to trainers championships. The racing's not as competitive as we'd like or what we've seen last year. But yeah, this horse was quite well fancied the last day at Plumpton, and Paul Nicholls done a very bullish interview with it regarding it before, and said the horse was ready for his life. Ran well, beaten 2 lengths by a horse of James Owens, but there's just a chance, every chance now that this horse does need a bit further in trip. It's a hell of a hike to go up to 2 mile 6 from 2 mile around Plumpton, but you know, maybe he's an 8-year-old now. Maybe he just needs that trip. Quick turnaround doesn't bother me too much. He's backed up his runs before through the summer. He's a horse that runs, you know, during these summer months, so the better ground's not going to be an issue for him. And in a very weak Grade 2, I think he might just be the best out of these. But again, it's a tentative selection from me.
Very fair. Matterhorn there at 7-2 for the Nicholls team, who haven't had the best of seasons, but are hoping to find a few winners on National Hunts Champions Day. You've been agreeing with that, Cotty? I suppose you look at this, these are all relatively exposed Grade 2 campaignees. Majority of them will get the trip. They're pretty much all 3 milers these days. And I suppose you're kind of looking at value because you've got Blow Your Wad at the top of the market, but doesn't seem like the strongest of 7-4 shots in terms of the market money early on. But be interesting if you could give that a bit of support.
No, I think the favourite's an absolute certainty here. To be quite honest, 7-4.
Really?
I think 7-4 is more than fair. You've got Etalon fourth in at the market at 6-1, and then there's a big break to the rest. That horse has got honking form on good ground. I couldn't have that with stolen money. Blow Your Wad won last time out at Chepstow. Had a pretty tough race, to be honest. Was messed about with at the start, and didn't jump great, and really took off and won nicely in the end. And he only got £3 for that. And I think if the way the horse won and in the circumstances to only get raised £3 for that I thought was quite lenient. The race before that was in the Ultimate at Cheltenham, was fourth that day. Absolutely flew up the hill. That race was obviously won by Johnny who has came out and run creditably in the national. Yeah, I just think in terms of a field size like this and the type of horses he's up against, I think this should go really close. Matterhorn, the one Matty mentioned, probably is the danger, but you know, his cup final seemed to be Plumpton last time. I remember they seem to target that race when they can Nichols, and maybe he was just A1 to win that race, and then they might have just entered it here for you know, a shot at the grade two, which is fair enough. But yeah, in terms of favourites this week, I think 7-4 is more than fair for this horse.
Absolute certainty. Blow your wad there for Cotty. I'm in agreement, but I don't think I could ever say that about a graded Gary Moore horse personally. But like, yeah, I don't want to keep repeating what you just said there.
Especially over jumps.
Yeah, exactly. I just get the impression the form lines probably are the strongest out of a very weak grade two, if I'm honest. Like, having the lack of an Irish contender over here kind of makes this difficult to have a bet in, to be honest. But 7-4 seemed about right to me. I wouldn't mind a bit of 2-1. I think the big form line isn't finishing, like Cotty said, there a length and change in the ultimate fourth. Was hiked up £4 for that, went to Chepstow one. He's hiked up another £3 here. So I think that they've had to probably put this into graded company again, just purely on the basis that he's eventually just going to keep hiking his market up. He's ran twice at Sandown. He had a second here a couple of years ago to Le Patron, who was a decent horse back in the day as well. So I think that there's enough form lines there. They're all relatively exposed. But to be honest with you, if Mahan's Glory finally had his day here, it wouldn't really surprise me either. I don't have any particular interest in having a bet in this race personally. The fact Skelton's got a pair in there is quite interesting. I don't think Etalon's going to get 2-7 personally, and Doyen Quest has been consistent, I would say, but he's been a pretty busy horse as well this season, so I didn't want to leave him. And Matterhorn seemed the obvious danger otherwise, but I just thought it was easy to stay at the top of the market there with Blow Your Wads. 255 is the BET365 Celebration Chase. It's a Grade 1 Class 1 event for 5-year-olds and above, just short of 2 miles. The legendary John Bond returns back to his familiar territory. He's won around Sandown umpteen amount of times, back to 2 miles, the 13-8 favourite. The ever-improving Thistleaska's there at 15-8. Solness has ended. I don't know if he'll come over or wait for Bunchestown. He's 11-2. JPR 1 is 12s, and that sets the bar. John Bond. Well, there's only one place for starting here, isn't it? And that's with Harry Cottrell. You have given this horse every matter of affection you can over the last couple of years. He returns to a place here that he loves. I think he's won this race previously. He's won 2 Tingle Creeks. He's fantastic over the rail fences. He does drop back to 2 miles here, though, as a 10-year-old. Is that any concern to you, or is this another one of your certainties at the weekend?
No, I think you've got to stick with them. Got to stick with John Bon here for sure. Definitely at the price of 13-8. To be honest, I think that's more than fair. After skipping Aintree and coming here from a break from Cheltenham, probably had a long enough season, and Thistleask might just come here a little bit fresher. But John Bon put Thistleask aside at Ascot, and you know, Ascot's a lot flatter track than what Sandown is, and I just think you know, the closing stages at Sandown up that steep hill, you know, when it all opens up, I think Thistleask will just start to paddle, and John Bon will come with one big run, and we'll nab him close home. Solness had a ridiculously hard race at Aintree 15 days ago against Grey Dawning. I don't think it'd be fair on that horse to travel back over to England to have a whirl at this. Maybe save it for Punchestown, but his season may be done, and go again next season. And then the rest really, Edwardstone and JPR1, they're kind of just, you know, place merchants will take you the third and fourth prize money potentially, and the owners will be happy, and they've had another fun day out. But yeah, John Bon at 13-8 for me, more than fair, and yeah, hopefully the old boy can grab another Grade 1 on the way.
Cotty's first love there, John Bond at 13-8, no real surprises. I couldn't have a bet in this if you paid me, to be honest. Like, John Bond probably will win, but the fact he's gone back down to 2 miles here as a 10-year-old, just I don't know if I love that enough. And this last, obviously, like you said, there was beaten at Ascot, but that was over for Sol, and this was destroyed the other day. And then the others, like you said, there were just complete place merchants. Would it surprise you if JPR1 or Edward Stone had a big day in them? Probably not really. Or if Mirabag can back up how fantastic he was at Aintree, wouldn't surprise me either. But I wouldn't be touching John Bond at 13-8. Are you a bit more confident than myself, Matty, that he's able to return here, like we said, at a place he loves, at a trip that he's been phenomenal over the years, but has he still got 2 mile grade 1 performance in him, or is it a case that it doesn't matter because the race isn't that strong?
Yeah, it could be that. Not for me. Like, I'm not this, not the horse's biggest fan as it is, and back down to 2 mile on good ground. We know how much he loves Sandown, but even he didn't even struggle to win the Tingle Creek this year. So I think he's just his days are slowly coming to an end. And I think as soon as Thistleask was beaten at Ascot, he was put away, and this was the race in mind. They could have gone to Cheltenham, could have gone to Aintree. They've not, and that's ultimately what's been the key to Dan Skelton's success this season, has been planning his horses and getting them to the right races. And I think this absolutely is the right race. So I'd be all over him on Saturday. I think he's clearly improving, freshened up. He's probably not a better horse than John Bond, but he's younger legs, and John Bond's had a hard enough season. I mean, he was beaten at Aintree by Hartwood, at Cheltenham by Hartwood, in the Ryanair, and then Hartwood's gone on to run really disappointingly at Aintree, so the form of that's not rock solid. He beat Pic D'Orhy at Ascot the time before that. Again, it's not the best form. He did obviously beat Thistleask at Ascot earlier in the season, but I think the ground will be a lot more in Thistleask's favour here compared to John Bond. So I'd absolutely back him to reverse the form. I think JPR1's actually in the wrong race. I'd have loved to have seen him in the Oaksey Chase. I think now he's got a bit older. He ran really well in the Ryanair for a long time. And in the weaker race, I think he might just get away with nicking it from the front, but that's not to be. But yeah, for me, I love the Thistleask 15-8, one of my stronger fancies of the week.
Steadily improving for Thistleask there for you to take on John Bond. Terrible grade 1. Like, really just bottom of the barrel stuff, this, isn't it? I mean, like, an argument could have come over and won this.
I think you could say that for the whole meeting, to be honest. It's disappointing, but it is what it is.
I think what it comes down to is in the last couple of seasons, because Willie Mullen's been so close for the title, he's been forced to send good contenders over. But why would you send an Elite Tomp over here to try and win this, or a Majborough, whenever you know the Punchestown's around the corner? He's going to win the Irish title. So, yeah. I think that's all it comes down to. Nevertheless, though, try and cheer you up with a nice handicap to finish off. This means good prices. The 330 is the feature of the weekend. The BET365 Gold Cup Handicap Chase. It's a Premier Class 1 event for 5-year-olds and above over the big, long 3 miles, 4.5 furlongs. And Gary Moore could have a massive Saturday, of course, if Blow Your Wad goes in earlier, because he's got Havela at the top of the market here. Caitlin Quinn jocked up at 9-2. Indoors there for Fergal O'Brien at 5s. Montragod's there for Tom Lacey at 5s. And then it's Asbrewster at 7-1, who won there a couple of weeks ago and is a good 3.5 mile contender. Big double figure prices about the rest. Cotty, it's a I'm not going to say good, but it's competitive. I think this is a decent enough race, and obviously when you've got £98,000 on the top of the board here, that's a lot of money in National Hunt terms. And we haven't filled out the running field here, but there's an opportunity to land a bit of decent money because the field is 9-2. If you land the winner of this, you're probably going to have a good Saturday. Who'd you fancy in the Gold Cup?
Yeah, I think you need to cheer up a little bit,
It's very difficult when you've got a Gary Moore horse top of a market for a handicap that's worth 98 grand.
Yeah, true, but I mean, at the same time, he won the Sussex national hands down, and that was a Class 2 and a 33 grand pot to the winner. So these improving horses have got to take their chance along the way somewhere, and it's people like you that give racing a bad rap. Really, you want competitive racing. We've got a competitive race, and
No.
You're saying the quality's poor.
I want good quality competitive racing. I don't want to look at 130 rated horses going around 3.5 miles at Sandown on a Saturday.
Well, like I said, I think you just need to cheer up a little bit and and get out more. But yeah, I think Road to Home's quite interesting here for Mullins. You know, he hasn't sent many over due to the championship being over, but it's been well supported, 20 into 10s. We'll like the quick ground, was second at the Cheltenham Festival. He's due to
Was
run
he
in the
supposed to run last week in the Scottish National? Is that the same horse?
He was, yeah, but was pulled due to the going. Obviously, the going got very heavy that day. Yeah, sound of service today. I'm not sure who would come over, whether it'll be Patrick or someone else. I'm not too sure, but whoever came over, you know, is more than capable to get the job done. And yeah, I just thought 10 to 1 was probably a fair enough price, and I'll play that each way.
Lovely Road to Home there for Willie Mullins, for yourself there at 10 to 1. Kind of due diligence there that Cotty sees that this is what Willie Mullins 11 for 12 string that could have possibly come over Matty and has a fine opportunity of winning this race. And I suppose like the relatively good thing here is you're probably going to get 5 to 1 the field on the day unless something comes for big money. Plenty of good British contenders in here. Who do you think is going to land the Gold Cup?
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement with you with regards to the quality. I mean, you look at the race last year, you had high class.
Yeah, but it's all right though, because Cotty won't have a go at you for being, you know, all fucking moody.
No, you had High Class Hero in the field. You had Grange Clare West, Spanish Harlem, Manila Cocoon. I mean, I know Willie was going for it, but it was just a better quality of race last year. And like you say, I think for me, Gary Moore, he's got favourites in 2 of the graded races. It's not a great day to be a jump racing fan. But we'll have a go. I mean, Ollie Murphy must be sat wondering why he's not had the handbrake on Resplendent Grey all season, because I mean, if they got him anywhere near his last year winning mark, he'd win this on the bridle, because this is an awful renewal compared to last year's. But again, I think sadly what separates the good from the great trainers is, you know, they've tried to win races that he's not good enough to win all season, and his mark has paid the price. He's a lot higher than he was last year, so you'd have to rule him out based on the fact he's got to carry 12 stone, and the fact he is in here off 12 stone means that everything else has got a lovely light racing way. But yeah, it's tricky. I've landed down on 2, I think, at the bigger price. Henry's Friend each way. I just think he's a horse that does just pop up every now and then, and he's back down. He's only £1 higher than when he won at Ascot in November, and that was on good ground. The form to win that day he's not going to need to improve much to take this. You know, he's just got to rock up on a going day, which he doesn't have too many of. So, you know, it's a tentative selection. He's ran well at Sandown before, second behind Omri the second over hurdle. So he could just pop up at a big price. And then I think the other one that I'm going to play with that's more of a win purpose is Indoor for Fergal O'Brien, Johnny Burke. I think I've backed this horse for its 2 runs since it left the David Maxwell dispersal from Venetia's Fergal, and ran well both times, but just without going on and getting a victory. But they're stepping him up in trip here to the extended 3 miles. He did run well behind Haiti Couleur in the what's the name of the race at the festival? I forget it now, but Haiti Couleur won the National Hunt Chase. So I don't think staying's going to be a problem at all, and hopefully just that eke back up to 3 mile 4 could do the trick. A lot of his form's on softer ground, but obviously they feel that the good ground on that trip's not going to stop him. So hopefully he gets a win to his name. But yeah, it's a poor race and it's tricky. But if you do land the winner, you're going to be paid out nicely for it.
Yeah, I'm going to side with one of your picks that you mentioned formerly there. That's Henry's Friend. He's been a big handicapper for me over the last couple of years, and I've landed some big days on him, particularly when he won at, I think it was Newbury or Ascot back in 2023. He's been a really consistent type, to be honest. The only time I backed him this year, he blew up at Cheltenham at the Christmas meeting. He's retained his mark over the years. He's down to 144 here from sort of, you know, that's around where he is. I think the big thing that you mentioned there is the fact that Resplendent Grey, if he did come here, is going to give the field £8. That includes Henry's Friend. Getting him off 11.6 at this stage in his career, I think, is relatively decent. He's absolutely exposed, as are the majority of these, and I just thought, well, there's a fair chance that he might go and pop in there at a big price. I thought about backing our power there, the Sam Thomas horse as well. He's been just too inconsistent for too long now. Continues to sort of drop down the weights here, so maybe at 137 he'll have his day as an 11-year-old, but I would be hard-pressed to give a really strong opinion on this. I don't think it's a bad betting race by any stretch. I just don't think that there's anything I can get involved with. But Henry's friends agree with you, Matty, there to finish off this week's Big Five. All right, that's our 5 races into the book then for this week. Before we go, though, we've got a couple of nice tips for you from our Nap of the Week selections. We will start with Matty then this week, who's desperate to get one of these up on the board, aren't you? We've got a nice selection, flat jumps, whatever you like. Probably some trotting in France. Just give us a winner. Just give us a winner, Matty.
Yeah, bad record of late with these, which is annoying, and I'm sure the nap I'm putting up, Cot's going to be delighted with, because I'm going to put Thistle Ask up as my nap, so that means John Bon will go and have his farewell and get another grade 1. But yeah, I just really think, I've obviously explained earlier as to why I fancy him so much, but I just think the season Dan's having, I think this will just top it all off, and this will go and win, and it'll be big celebrations.
Lovely stuff there on the day that he will become the champion trainer for the first time in his career. Thistle Ask leads up the Dan Skelton Chase in the celebration for Matty there. I'm going to take you back to the Friday version of events from Sandown on one of the flat cards there. There's a Group 3 Gordon Richards Stakes there, and Al McCann's top of the market there, and I think that's incredibly well justified. He's been fantastic of late. Started last season off as a 116 rated horse, and was beaten by Al Azi at Sandown in the race that we covered last week, which is, more than fair enough, because that's his back garden. His big win where the good form comes is when he beat Ombudsman at 7-4 at Sandown once again. Obviously, Ombudsman went on to be one of the most perennial contenders in the Group 1 division last year, landing some huge prizes. Since then, it's again been a case of look at the horses he's been behind. He was second to Royal Champion at York during the summer. He came to Champions Day and was third in the Champions Stakes behind Calandigan, who's of course gone on to be the highest rated horse in the game since. So I think the form lines are very good. The quicker the ground, the better it is. Particularly at Sandown. Ed Walker, of course, more known for his sprinters, but I think this horse gets a mile and 2 all day long against a couple of horses that are continuing to improve. Of course, Pride of Aris was a Group 1 winner last year. Almeric's been ultra consistent as well over his time. Devil's Advocate in there as well for Godolphin, who you've always got to respect. But I thought Al McCann at 7-4 was producing some very, very good value in those lovely Sheikh Mohammed Abeid Al Maktoum silks on the Friday. The most important of the naps, though, of course, comes from Cotty, who strikes at over 65% in this segment. He finds fantastic winners, reasonably short prices, but any winner is good these days. Cotty, who's your best bet of the week?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to stick with my one of my big 5 selections in Blow Your Wad. I think 7-4 represents some sort of value, and it's more than a fair price for a nap selection. I was going to tip up the Tristan Davis horse in the first race at Ludlow tomorrow, but it's 8-13, so I'll let that go as a nap selection, and I'll stick my neck on the line on the 7-4 shot out the big 5. So So yeah, Blow Your Wad on Saturday.
Hopefully that is not the case, though. You're not blowing your wad. You're gaining your wad on Saturday. 7-4 there. A nice little price for yourself. Lovely, because we've got a bit of extra time this week. We've got a nice segment we're going to take you through. I'm very much looking forward to this. It was inspired by Matty Blackmore, so this could be very good fun as we have a nice look towards the end of the season. Yeah, and you're wondering what I get up to in my spare time. I don't fuck about, folks. This is Matty Blackmore's best of. As we come to the end of this season, we kind of wanted to take a little bit of a look back at some of the highlights and the best moments from the 2025-26 season. Just to kind of give it a bit of a recap, because this is the last of the racing we're going to do from the jumps in the UK. It's once again been a very drama-filled season, in my opinion. I got to around the winter time just before Christmas talking about kind of the state of play being the potential to be one of the best National Hunt seasons. Whether that fruited is a bit more your opinion than it is mine, but ultimately we had some dramatic winners, a bit of a tricky time in the spring with the festivals lately, with a lot of short price favourites going up. It's led to some fantastic stories, though. So we've got 3 categories that we're going to go through here. We're going to start with the race of the season, then we're going to go to the jockey of the season, and then we've got a bit of a dark horse slash prediction going into next season as well, possibly one that you want to get into your anti-post slips as early as you possibly can, though. Race of the season, though, we'll go to first here, and seeing it was your idea, Matty, I suppose we'll just go straight to you. off the top of my head, without really thinking about this, there's about 4 or 5 different contenders here. My mind is being drawn probably more to Ireland than it is the UK, but like I said there's been some good stories throughout the year. There's been some fantastic races. What took your prize for this year's race of the season?
Yeah, there's a few, like you say, that came to mind. I think most recently, I think the Melling Chase, which obviously Grey Dawning won, that was a fantastic battle. Going a bit earlier in the season, the Factor File Gaelic Warrior Ding Dong at Punchestown was superb. I thought that teed the season up beautifully. And obviously Gaelic Warrior propelled onto massive things. For me, I think the King George has to take the race of the year, to be fair. I think just to have 4 horses that close, you had a previous winner, and then you had kind of the 3 young pretenders who have all got massive careers ahead of them. Gaelic Warrior, Django Bay, both the 1-2 in the Gold Cup, and the Jukebox Man, who was obviously not right in the Gold Cup, but still think he's got a massive future. But it wasn't, the most grueling of King George's, but I just think when you've got 4 top class animals, Banbridge, a previous winner as well, was in there, going down to the final fence, I don't think it gets any better for National Hunt fans, to be honest. And the roar from the crowd and the commentary from Mark Johnson, who always does a great job of that race, was fantastic. And it's a King George that will live long in the memory of me, to be honest. Even though I was on Gaelic Warrior, I was gutted, but I mean, as a jumping fan and an enthusiast of national racing, I don't think you can ask for much more than what we got in that King George. So yeah, that was the one I came down on.
I think it's a pretty fair statement to say the King George is one of the top 5 races in the National Hunt calendar season. There's a multitude of reasons for that. It's the first of the big 3 mile Grade 1s leading up to the festival as well for the Gold Cup, which is the biggest race. And it's always going to be good with Christmas and everything that surrounds it, but when you had a race like you did this year with those 4 horses and the form lines, like you said there, that have come out so strongly, it's very, very hard to disagree, really. It was an unbelievable contest. And I suppose, Cotty, it leaves a bit of an open field for you to take here. You could very easily just be in agreement that race was incredible. I remember your reaction at the time. I was at Aintree on the day, and all I could hear was voice notes of you going like, wow, 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 because it was such a good race. Did that end up on top for you this year?
Yeah, you said it would leave an open field for me to pick the other 1,000 races that the jumps calendars held. But now I'll basically pinpoint what Matty said. I'm absolutely bang on. And the close second would have to be the John Durkin over in Ireland. But no, the King George stands out for me. So a bit bored agreeing with Matty, but there's no point lying.
Fair enough. I think that. Apologies. I think that is actually the 1-2, to be fair. I think it is probably the King George and the John Durkin. Just to be different and edgy, I'd probably just go towards the race in the John Durkin, just because it really did set the season up fantastically. The fact I thought we didn't do a ride of the season for this, really, which we should have done. I thought that was the ride of the season from Paul Town, and I thought he was just unbelievable. A horse that was completely pulling his arms out for 2.5 miles and shot off to the gods, and still, whenever Factor File got to him, Factor File, an Irish Gold Cup winner since, of course, I think everything was just perfectly in line that day, and I thought the races between the two of them were just unbelievable. Whether they'll see each other again in the future or in that John Durkin, I don't know. Will it live up to the hype? I don't know. But we had that moment, and I thought that was one of the best races I've watched in a very, very long time. So the John Durkin nailed it for me, but equally the King George is absolutely the right answer as well, if that's your cup of tea. 4 horses that went to the final fence and were barely split whenever they hit the line was just incredible. Jukebox Man got the nod that day. It could have been any one of the 4, though, couldn't it? That was a fantastic set of races from the 25-6 season. Jockey of the season. This is one I'm a lot more confident on my opinion for, but before I go, I'll switch things back to Cotty. There's been a lot of good improving jockeys, of course, in the last 12 months. Even the likes of Tristan Durrell, who's of course going to take the conditionals title next season. He's had some this season. He's had some fantastic wins, of course. Obviously, taking the Hennessy was huge for him, and it's been a real coming of age year, you would say, for him. But in terms of the top quality contenders, there's so many good, obviously, Irish jockeys that we've had come over. Brilliant performances from good British jockeys. Sean Bowen's had another good season. Sam Twiston-Davies has had some fantastic riders as well. Who landed for you as your jockey of the season?
I think my jockey this season will go to Ben Jones. I think season before last, he was sat on some really good horses, and he came under a lot of criticism He fell off a few. Went too early on a couple as well. But I think this season, he's broke the 100 winner mark. I think for the first time. Won some big pots along the way. He's definitely the number one now for Ben Paulin, who's who's a trainer going places. He's creeping up the ranks. And, he'll be knocking on the door of for second spot alongside Ollie Murphy, and long way to go to get to Dan Skelton, and I don't think anyone will for donkey's years. But I just think the way he's rode this season, he's definitely improved. Picked up the King George, and it'd be easy to sit here and say Sean Bowen and Paul Townend, but I just thought I'd try and think outside the box, and I think Ben's done very well this season.
I respect that. He's like I said, that there's a few that have progressed on very nicely. Ben Jones, perhaps more than anybody else. The King George, of course, the highlight of his season, and a huge career ahead for him. Matty, the floor's yours.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I was hoping Cott was going to say Tristan Durrell, to be fair, because I didn't want to have to, but obviously he's a great pal of mine, and but for me, his career from being so close to him is just taken off this year. I mean, he's been every Saturday at the bigger meetings. He obviously won the Hennessy before Christmas. That was his biggest winner to date, and then to top off with the Grade 1 at Aintree was unbelievable. And he's had to step up this year, and I don't think there was any other question marks over his ability or whatever. But when you get put under pressure at the big meetings, riding some fancy Dan Skelton horses, it's not going to be everyone. Not everyone could take to that, but he's been really good. And he was in a great race with Freddie Gordon for the championship. Sadly, Freddie broke his collarbone, but his dad actually has continued to train a lot of winners. So I think it would have been a great race to go into the end of the season, but sadly it's all done now, and Tristan's going to lift that championship at Sandown on Sunday. But he's just short of 50 winners. Hopefully he might be able to, for the season, he might be able to accumulate that over the next few days. He hit 100 winners for his career this year. Over £800,000 in prize money, from his winners. So a monumental season, and a massive sort of kickstart for him now. And he's obviously lost his claim, so he's going to be without that next year, and he's going to have to go again and keep improving. But no, it's been a joy to watch him step up this year, and especially and it's someone that you're close to. It's quite, it's been a great journey for him.
High praise there for a good friend of the podcast and a man who absolutely deserves the title that he's going to pick up on Saturday there, like I said. And you said he's just continued to improve in his coming of age season there, Tristan Durrell. Mighty Blackmore's jockey of the season. Any guesses who mine is?
Paul Townend must be about 1 to 80.
Yeah, cash it. It's boring, I know, but it's like... I want to be able to appreciate in a modern time like how incredible athletes are in any sports I cover, sports I just watch for fun of it, and every single time I see Paul Townend on a big race meet, and be it on a Saturday or at the Cheltenham Festival, I am never not absolutely confident that he will ride to the best of his ability. Be it that he might not necessarily win every race, of course, that's just the way the game is. I know that the effort and I think the thing is, you can talk about jockeys having like great effort, like Sam Twiston Davis is amazing in a finish, Sean Bowen can get them back from the gods, that's fine. Paul Townend not only has that, he has a race IQ and a clock for the game I don't think I've ever seen. Be it Ruby Walsh, Sir Anthony, Barry Geraghty, all the great legends that you named from years gone by. I see particularly with him, like I do Ryan Moore on the flat, his ability to be able to time things is exceptional. We've seen that most notably in the Grand National, whenever obviously Ben Jones's ride went off about 20 lengths clear as they were turning for the elbow. His ability to manage game clock and things like that, and it's just brilliant. He continues to perform at the big Grade 1 level. I said earlier in the season when you said Sean Bowen, last year when we talked about Sean Bowen being the best, I needed to see Sean Bowen be able to turn up on the big Grade 1 days. And I get he doesn't get the horses, granted, because he's not with Willie. But what I ultimately can see is that Townend has deserved continually his position. And I think at the top table there is very few even remotely close to him. For a bit of a second shot, I think Danny Gilligan all season has been absolutely fantastic. There's a great scrap that goes on, of course, with the team down in Gordon Elliott's place, and the fact you've got Sam Ewan, Jack Kennedy, Jordan Gainford, and Rob James has been brilliant the last couple of years as well. I just think that Danny he's really started to take his big rides. He's been great on Wadhu a couple of times this season as well, and I think that he is one to really look out for in the years to come. But there was no getting past Paul Townend for me, so cash of 1 to 80s.
I think Danny Gilligan would have a dick of the season for me for making Craig Park jump the last in the
Jesus Christ
8-3 the other day to finish 18th of 18. So yeah, if we were doing a dick of the season, I'd give it to Danny Gilligan for that.
I just see my eyes flash up then with a copyright strike on YouTube because I had no idea where that was going. But how'd you know? Fair enough. That's probably where Danny Gilligan gets his credit. Unbelievable ride from Croke Park to get 18th at Aintree. You left this question quite open, Matty, so I suppose it's more for you to explain than me. But the 26-27 dark horse / prediction going into next year, what does that entail?
Yeah, so I kind of just thought more sort of opinions. If anyone's got a bold opinion, I've got one that I think you definitely won't agree with. Or you think, say a horse, you don't think a horse is going to go and win another graded race, something like that. It's pretty open. But I just thought my bold prediction is I think that England can win the Presbury Cup. Yeah, I do. I really do, and this is exactly why I put this question forward to you, because I knew this is what I had in my head. I think the handicaps now we've got it nailed. With the Irish horses can't.
No. You haven't got it nailed. You've got the British handicapper on your side.
Correct. That's exactly what I mean. The handicappers nailed it. They're not having these Irish horses coming in, chucked in. They're getting assessed properly now. And it was 6-4 in the handicaps this year, which was a good improvement. If we improve that a bit more, it was, 16-14? Was it the Presbury Cup or 16?
Yeah, I think so.
I've got it written down. 15-13, wasn't it? I think
15-13. That's it. So all we need is, Air of Entitlement won the last. All we need is that to swing round. We're level, and then I think we can. I feel like we've got contenders in the Gold Cup for sure. Gaelic Warrior is going to be hard to take off his crown, but you look at the Arkle. That's going to be dominated, I think, by English horses like the Old Park Star. It's an optimistic take, but I just think of how significantly it has got closer. I think it's heading that way, and I think it could come as quick as next season. Let's not forget the success Dan Skelton's having, and he is I think he just bought a horse that sells there for 430 grand, outbidding Willie. That is going to be a theme for a lot of the summer. I think he's only going to increase, and he might just he's going to have to be the flag bearer for England if they want to win it. But I think he's got every potential that he can do it. Also, another quick one. I thought I just discussed the conditional jockeys championship. Next year's winner, Toby McCain-Mitchell, for me. I think he's a real up and come. I think he still claims 5. He's absolutely phenomenal value for that. And I think he'll take a hell of a lot of beating in it next year. With the likes of Twist out, Freddie Gordon out, Callum Pritchard, they're all gone. Toby McCain-Mitchell should be nailed on to win that.
Yeah, I can get a lot more on side with that than the first thing you said. Toby McCain-Mitchell, fantastic conditional, and hopefully get some big rides next season. I just see the thing is, right, so the handicaps ended 6-4 to England, so that means out of the other 18 races, I think 13 of them are grade 1s, and Ireland won all 5 of the big grade 1s, and I'm struggling to think of many that the English won. So Old Park Star won the Supreme. I don't know where the grade 1 value is going to come from. That's my big opinion, to be honest. I think that they're still probably a year or two behind. Granted, it's closer than it was, but I can't see that personally, but there you go. Cotty, your dark horse / prediction of the year.
On the topic of Matty making a fair enough point about Great Britain winning the Presbyterian Cup, I mean, I actually backed Great Britain to win the Presbyterian Cup this year round. I just thought 6-7 to 1 was too big. I might make the bold prediction that Willie Mullins won't be champion trainer at the Cheltenham Festival next year.
Bob's gonna leave the room, I think.
You take out the ones that he's won. I don't think he'll win the Arkle next year. You know, his novices, I don't think are that good. You know, there won't be a Cargeese in the Arkle next year. I think Old Park Star will take a lot of beating in that. So that's a race gone. You know, Lossy Mouth for the champion hurdle. They could question mark over that. Maybe as a bold prediction. Maybe it won't just be as straightforward as it has been for the last 5 or 6 years. You know, it'd probably be 1 to 4, 1 to 5 again. And you asked for bold predictions, so 7 to 2, 3 to 1 not to be could be a fair enough shout.
Yeah, I fucking wish I hadn't now. I wish we just ended the podcast 5 minutes ago when I was in a better mood. Oh my god. Who's going to win it then?
Well, I couldn't give you a trainer that could win it. I just think...
Well, look at the outscape from it. So you look at the other Irish trainers like Gordon Elliott, Henrik Bromhead, Gavin Cromwell as the perennial contenders.
Gordon Elliott had what 53 horses at the Cheltenham Festival this year.
And he had one winner.
So he's got to prove that he can bring a squad over to the festival and
but then he's a lot closer this year to Mullins in the Irish. So his squad is obviously getting better. He just needs to.
Something's not right with the way they seem to travel over, because I mean he had a better entry, but you can't have that many horses come and run as disappointingly as they did for me.
Well, that's what I mean. Next year he might look and do something different. Therefore, if he's ahead of Mullins right now in the Irish Championship, and then he alters his training to try and get his horses primed for Cheltenham, and say it does work, his one winner is going to be 3. That's 2 more winners for him, which could be 2 less for Mullins. And, it is getting a lot more competitive. And there isn't... How many odds on was there this year? Probably, 2 odds on favourites throughout the whole week? 3-4 years ago, Mullins would have had 4 odds ons throughout the week. Plus the second favourite in the race and the third favourite. But now, times are changing. Obviously, he is the best trainer and he does have the best horses. But the gap between Mullins and the rest of the field now is nowhere near as big as it was, and I just think, maybe that there could be a surprise on the horizon, and if England were to win the cup, then there could be a new name on the trophy.
Okay, very interesting then. So Willie Mullins not to be the champion trainer at the festival and Britain to win the Presbyterian Cup. I actually can't think of any off the top of my head. I was having to think through. Well, I was going to think whilst you two were talking, but then I got so bamboozled by what you both said. I don't really have anything. So I don't know. I think Gaelic Warrior might go undefeated, but that's not really that bold. I think that he won't lose a race for the rest of his life. I think he'll win at Punchestown next week, and then he'll turn up in the John Dark and win that. He'll turn up in the Savills win that, the Irish Gold Cup win that, and then he'll win the Cheltenham Festival as well. So it's a bit of a ballsy actor.
I'll be there every step of the way and all.
Yeah, I honestly think he won't lose another race before he retires. I said the same thing about Gallopin, and I was right for so long, but maybe time will get to him. But he's only 8, is he, or 9? So he's got time on his side. But
well, he won't go for the Savills, will he? Go back and try and win the King George that he couldn't win this year.
I don't know if they will. I think they might just, now that he's the number 1 3-mile chaser for Willie Mullins, I think that he might just go and win the Savills.
I think they might swerve the King George as well, based on, I think, Kitzbühel, that will be that horse's big race. I think they'll want Paul on him for that. And I think, why do you need to send Gaelic Warrior over? They might campaign him a bit less lightly as well, but I don't know. But yeah, I just think they'll want Paul Townend on Kitzbühel.
Yeah, I can't see Gaelic Warrior running the King George, but it's 8 months away. Anything could happen between now and then. So there you go then. That is a couple of little awards / highlights from the 25-26 national season. It has been absolutely fantastic, really, throughout the time. And that was Blackmore's best of. I'm going to play it again. I have to. Great what a little degree in journalism can do for you. Thank you, folks. That was fantastic to take you through the best of the action that we've got coming up from Sandown over the next couple of days, and then a little look back at the highlights from the rest of this National Hunt season.
Did you edit yourself into that photo, by the way?
No, I'm in the photo.
No, he is in it.
Like I took the photo. Yeah. I'm not that big-headed.
We just got you out.
Yeah, just whenever you put it on social, I'm just not in the photo. Yeah. It's just I'm all right with it. I'm fine. We've got another birthday this weekend. They seem to go thick and fast this time of year. Cotty, like I said at the top of the podcast there, his big 18th birthday, and he's coming down to the lovely city of town of Cheltenham as well to celebrate. Are you good spirits? Are you feeling good at the minute in life, Cotty?
Yeah, mate. Is it the older you get, the wiser you get? That's certainly not the case.
No.
But no, I'm sure we'll get there at one point. But no, I think the quote I got told the other day was 20s are for learning and 30s are for earning. So we've got a few more years left in the tank yet.
Matty, any weekend plans?
Bit of first cricket training session outside on Sunday, a bit later than a few of the others, but that's really looking forward to that. The season starts the week after, so yeah, like I said, this is my time of year now. Cricket, golf, bit of summer racing, Worcester, Warwick, Stratford. Now we're talking.
Lovely. Yeah, it's some nice stuff to look forward to over the next couple of months. Just worldwide sport at the minute is absolutely incredible. We've got, like Matty said there, the cricket, the football running, the NBA playoffs have just kicked off. So much to look forward to over the next couple of months. And we'll be here to take you through the best of the flat action as well as many weeks as we possibly can. For Matty Blackmore, for Harry Cottrell, my name's been Harrison Verse. It's a pleasure to have had your company for the last 60 minutes. Have a fantastic weekend, folks, and enjoy the racing. We will see you next week for the Punches Town Festival.